how can we be the body? You know, it's very easy to say, oh, well, this is what we are. Do we act like it? Isn't it true that there are some collection of believers that by virtue of the things they do, it's just like Jesus were there? And there are other pockets of Christians and churches, and with the things they do, it's like, it's not like Jesus is there. How can we actually be the body and in turn fulfill our destiny and in turn realize the ultimate purpose of God? How can we do that? I want to take the last few minutes and suggest there's a couple of very simple but profound steps we could take to really be the body. The first step I would put this way: we've got to open our eyes. We have to open our eyes to actually see the pain and the frustration and the emptiness and the desperation and the longings of people who are yet disconnected from God, just like we all were. I mean, we actually have to see it. Jesus was so good at seeing it. It says in Matthew chapter 5, or chapter 9, verses 35 and 36, it says, Jesus traveled through all the cities and villages of that area, teaching in the synagogue and announcing the good news of the kingdom. And wherever he went, he healed people of every sort of disease and illness. He felt great compassion for the crowds that came because their problems were so great. And he saw them as helpless and harassed, like sheep without a shepherd. He saw the multitudes as harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Somehow when Jesus looked at people, he actually saw them. When Jesus looked at people, an incredible picture emerged in his head. Somehow he saw them as just tired. Because the word harassed is also a word that is used to describe somebody who is utterly exhausted at the end of a seemingly endless journey. When Jesus looked at people, he saw them as being ravaged, because that same Greek word is used to describe a body that has been mangled by wild beasts that nip on it and bite it and rip it to shreds and leave it discarded. When Jesus saw people, he saw them as rejected, because that exact same word is also used to describe things that are thrown away with contempt because someone sees no value in them anymore. When Jesus saw people, that's what he saw. He saw them as people without a sure sense of direction. He saw them without any sure source of protection. He saw them as nobody that had, or anybody that had someone in their life that could lead them in the ways that they could discover their whole reason for being alive and becoming the people they were meant to be. When Jesus saw people, that's what he saw. What do we see? Seriously, what do we see? You know, I think Jesus could see like that because first of all, he wasn't too busy to look. Let's be honest. We're so busy. We have agendas. We fly through days. And we never take time to look and see, how are the people around me actually doing? And in addition to not being too busy to look, Jesus also was not fooled by the veneer. See, culture tells us all that we must wear masks, that we must project images that we're doing better than we actually are. You cannot show our vulnerabilities. And so we often see each other's masks, but Jesus looked right underneath, right through the mask. And I would suggest that we could live at the pace Jesus lived at and take the time to look. And we could see with the eyes that Jesus saw with, and we could see beyond the mask to the actual need that's there. In a recent issue of Reader's Digest, I happened to be flipping through it, and I came across one of those visual puzzles. And it said, what's the problem with this picture? You ever seen one of those? And when you look at it at first, it looks like everything's fine, but then you realize, oh, it's like that person's foot, their feet are backward. And you go, oh, wait a minute, that person's nose is where an eye needs to be. And it's like, as soon as you take time to really look at the picture, you go, wait a minute, there are things that are all askew in this picture. And all you have to take the time is look and kind of evaluate, and you go, oh, look at all of the things that I did not see at first blush, that in that picture they're really not right. I wonder if we really took the time to look at people with an open heart and an open mind, if we wouldn't begin to see the things about them, not the veneer, but the signs of things that aren't right, pieces of brokenness, pieces of frustration, pieces of desperation, pieces of hopes that are absolutely dying, and they're being crushed because of it. We've got to open our eyes if we want to be the body. I think a second thing that we really need to do if we're going to be the body is after our eyes are finally open, then we've got to link our arms. See, I am not the body of Christ. And you are not the body of Christ, individually. We are the body of Christ together. I read the verse, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 27. It says, for together you are the body of Christ. You see, it's only as we link our arms, it's only as we pool our resources, it's only as we share our ideas, it's only as we work together and collaborate, and all of us together in unity give what we have to offer, only then can we really be like Jesus to the world around us. A body part is not a body. Right? If we found an arm beside the road, in addition to being really gross and alarming, we wouldn't go a body, we'd go, oh, a body part. If we found an ear or an eye, again, equally gross, but it's not a body, it's a body part, it would indicate there's a problem somewhere. But I didn't exactly find a body, I found a part of the body. Because really to be a body, all the parts need to be there. And that's how it works with us. Is as we each do our part, as we each do our thing, as we pool our resources, as we work together as one, then we can be the body. This is why division in the church is so incredibly deadly, because it fractures the body into body parts. And now you no longer have God in the flesh to help people get it by being loved and served in His name. Do you know ultimately what unites people? It's commitment to a common mission. It is being dedicated to a common vision. Because only then are we really capable of putting our preferences aside so that we can work together in order to get something done that we all believe is so worth our effort. No, yes. It's okay. You know, unfortunately, in my line of work, I've been in too many ambulances, emergency rooms, hospitals. And I've seen on a number of occasions when a traumatic event has happened and someone is rushed to the hospital, I see paramedics in the back of that ambulance working together like crazy and in harmony to stabilize that person, keep them alive. I've seen them rushed into ERs, and doctors and nurses and technicians are flying everywhere, and they're working together in a chaotic, difficult environment because they all have one purpose: save